Hi all, welcome back to another lecture of DBMS, and in this lecture we'll be learning about aggregate functions in SQL and different types of aggregate functions like count, sum, average, minimum, maximum and group concat functions. So how we apply these inbuilt aggregate function in the database to find out and to basically calculate instead of like calculating it individually, we will just be using these functions and get the results from each column or rows. So let's see what are aggregate functions. These are the functions, basically built-in functions that perform a calculation on a set of values and return a single value. So let's suppose we have a column called price and we are having price 20, 50, 80, 10, 10. Okay. So if you want the summation of all these rows from the particular column, you need to iteratively add it, right? So instead of doing it, you have a function called sum. You will just give the sum of price like column name, and that will return you the summation 50 plus 50, 20, 70, 80, 150 and total 170, right? So this is how it returns. So it is a built-in function which gives you a single result for a particular individual column. These functions are used in conjunction with group by clause to group rows that have the same values in specified columns. So we use these types of aggregated functions with the group by clause. And what are group by clause or different types of clauses, we'll be learning in just next lecture or next lecture from this video. So as of now, just learn with the group by clause, we are using these aggregate functions. Okay. So group by does nothing but, let's suppose we have a summation price, we have a price column with 10, 20, 50, 20, 10. Okay. And we have a department, right? So we have a department IT, HR, manager. So basically what group by does, we will do the summation, but if you have done the group by on the department, so what it will do, for all IT, it will do summation. So IT 10 and this is IT 50. So price will be 60. Then HR. So for HR, summation will be 20 plus 20. So 40. Again, manager is alone. So manager and a price is 10. So this is how group by clause basically it groups according to some other attribute and then perform the summation or different types like count, sum, average, minimum, maximum, all the aggregate function, but we apply this with the group by clause. Okay. So now let's learn these functions one by one. So very first is count function. So basically count function returns a number of rows that matches a specific condition. So whatever conditions we have given and how many number of columns matches that condition, this count function will give you the or return you the number of total counts which follows that condition. So basically, if you will see in this product table, we have product ID, product name, price and quantity as an attributes, and we have 3 rows basically inserted in this. So we are writing the SQL query saying select count of all, okay, as expensive fruit. So we will be in the result we will give the column name, as we have written as expensive fruit, the column name will be expensive fruits. Now from product, so table name is product, okay. Group by product ID, okay. Group by product ID means if there will be duplicated product ID, so the result will be 101. 101 will select 101 one time, then 102 and then 103. Okay. Now what we are doing, where price is greater than 100. So price is greater than 100 in the case of 101, okay, and in case of 103. 102 price is 40, which is less than 100, so we will not include it. So 101 and 103 will be included, and the number of count for those rows are 2. So this is what it will return. So that's what count function does. It matches it counts basically the number of rows it will count basis on the basis of whatever condition it has been mentioned with the where. Now another function is sum. So instead of counting it like what count function does, it will give you the summation of all those columns based on some condition. So this calculates total sum of a numeric column across all the rows that matches a given condition. Here also we will give some condition. It is used with group by clause. So here we will be using with group by clause. So here let's suppose we have the same table and we are basically returning the summation of quantity. So basically we are returning summation of quantity as total produce. So the return table return column name will be produce. From products means from product table, and then group by product ID. So we are basically grouping by product ID. So we know that grouping, after grouping by product ID 101, 102 and 103, because they are unique, right? So no need to group here. So whatever the number of quantity here, we will just give the summation of it. So 10, 20 plus 15 will be 45. So this is a result of summation function with this condition. Next is average function. So average function basically it is similar to summation, but instead of only summation, we'll find out the summation first and then we'll divide by the number of rows. So it will give the summation, right? So the count function returns the average value. Here the average function returns the average value of a numeric column. So it calculates the sum of all values and then in the specified column and divide the sum by number of null values. So basically here why we are saying non-null values. So in case, let's suppose for some, let's suppose we are calculating average for quantity, and for one value the quantity is null. So we do not need to divide the summation by 3 because one row has null value. So we will divide the summation by 2 itself. Okay. So this is what here we'll do. So average of price, okay, and we'll give that name as average price, okay. So we are basically calculating the average for price here. From product table and group by product ID. So again, product ID is unique here. So no benefit of using the group by thing. And now here what we will do, from products, we will be adding the summation. So 180 plus 40, 220, 220 plus 220, 440 divide by 3. So the average will be 146.67. So this is what different types of functions we are applying on data basically to manipulate. Next is again max. So max basically returns you the maximum value from the particular column. So here if you are applying the maximum of price here, so maximum of price will be 220 and you are giving the column name as expensive fruit. So the name will be expensive fruit. But here you are selecting product name also along with the expensive fruit. So product name will be here and expensive fruit 220 and 220 product name is cherry. So such cherry will be saved here. So it gives a return or basically returns a maximum value from a specified column. It is used to find the highest value in a column of a numeric data or the last value in the column of date or string on the ordering. So maximum value in the numeric data, it gives a maximum value, but in case of column of date or column of a string, it gives you the last value. So if it was a string like A, B, C and all, okay, so it will give you the last value because it actually finds the maximum value in the numerical, but in terms of date, in terms of its string, it gives you the last value of the row. So that is what the functionality of the max function. Similarly here min function also do the same, but instead of giving you the maximum value, it gives you the minimum value. Okay, and in case of column like in case of date or string, it will give you the first value in a column. So whatever the first value will be there, let's suppose if you are finding out the minimum function for product name, so it will give you apple. If you finding out the maximum, then it will give you cherry. So this is what it means. And in case of numerical, it will give you the exact minimum value from the integer. Okay. So here also we'll do product name and then minimum price as cheapest price from the price table. So here 40 will be the cheapest and the product name is banana. This is what it will return. Next is group concat function. So basically this function concats the values from multiple rows. So if we want to concat multiple rows values, we use group concat. And that will concat and put it into the single column. This is what it does. So let's see from the query, we are selecting name. Okay, we are selecting name, and then group concat we are using on two things, course and separate. Basically, okay, we are selecting the name and we are using this group concat on the course. Okay, so we are using the group on the course. Now as courses, we will give that name as courses. From students, group by name. So here what we will do, group by name. So here you can see Alice, Alice and Alice. 3 times Alice are there, right? So whatever the value of the courses for the Alice are, we will be separating, concating with the comma. So here for Alice, you can see maths, physics and chemistry, we have separated with the comma separator. Now again for Bob, we have a single value. So for Bob, science will be saved. And for Charlie, we have single value. So math will be saved. So this is what concat does. It actually saves multiple rows value in a single row. Okay. So this was all about the group concat, and this was all about the whole aggregated functions. Here we have learned how we can utilize the pre-built functions to find out the new values, what we want, instead of calculating by iterating it and all. So I hope you learned, and these all these aggregated functions you are going to apply in your job life as well. So these are very much important, and again in interview also these are mostly commonly being asked. So stay I will request you to learn these things. If you forget, then I will request you to again revisit the video, or you can also go through the article. Those are very precise and very up to date. So yeah, that is all about the whole lecture. Let's meet in another lecture. Till then, keep learning, take care of yourself and your family too.